Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Top officials of the Trump administration are warning North Korea. Your time is running short. The United States may be forced to launch a military strike against the North's nuclear program.
The threat of a North Korean nuclear attack is growing after the regime launched another missile Friday. Now the U.S. is getting ready to play hardball. Jenna Browder brings us the story from Washington.
As tensions continue to rise with North Korea, the Trump administration says the United States is ready to defend itself and its allies with military action.
We have pretty much exhausted all the things that we could do at the Security Council at this point.
U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley making it clear over the weekend the U.S. isn't backing down from its threat of using the military if necessary, saying she'd be glad to hand over the situation to the Secretary of Defense.
I'm perfectly happy kicking this over to General Mattis because he has plenty of military options.
This comes as world leaders, including President Trump, head to New York for the annual General Assembly. On Friday, North Korea launched a missile over Japan into the Pacific Ocean, defying new UN sanctions, banning some of its key exports, and capping its imports of crude oil.
It is a new day at the UN.
Asked about the president's statement that the U.S. could respond to North Korea with, quote, fire and fury, Haley says it was not an empty threat.
If North Korea keeps on with this reckless behavior, if the United States has to defend itself or defend its allies in any way, North Korea will be destroyed. And we all know that. And none of us want that. None of us want war.
National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster says it's time to stop kicking the can down the road because the U.S. is running out of road.
This regime is so close now to threatening the United States and others with a nuclear weapon that we really have to move with a great deal of urgency on sanctions, on diplomacy, and on preparing, if necessary, a military option.
To add to the tension, there are now reports North Korea is developing a nuclear submarine. The Washington Times quotes a Japanese newspaper saying the vessel could be used to launch a ballistic missile into international waters. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Well, our national security correspondent Eric Gonzalez is with us now from Washington. Eric, there's several top officials talking about military action. How serious do you think they are?
Oh, I tell you what, Pat, we are very, very serious, as you heard from McMaster's there, that it's time is of the essence. We have to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula, and we actually, as President Trump said, anything short of that is unacceptable. You know, top White House administrators that I spoke with actually said that this week is going to be a very key issue. It's you know, the president is going down to the UN, and whether or not they're going to be going down there with a very sobering type of reaction, and it's going to be interesting to see what's the reaction going to be from both China and Russia. That's going to be the telltale sign. I tell you what, this really needs to take place, and we are very, very close to military action.
Eric, you ask yourself, what is going on in Kim Jong-un's mind? He knows, he must know, we have enough firepower to literally destroy that country. I mean, we could destroy them. Well, not only could we drop a nuke on them, we could come in with Tomahawk missiles, we could take out all of his military and take his family out. Why do you think that man keeps doing what he's doing?
You know, Pat, it's he's a madman. You know, there's no other way to say it. He's like a little boy in a big boy's world. You know, he wants to be able to be sitting at the table, the main table of, and get his food and get all of his stuff, but at the same time, you know, he's playing with his own people here. He's starving his own people just to continue this military training, to continue these military missile tests. You know, with the sanctions that are already taking place, we're already starting to see longer gas lines. You know, it's going to be interesting to see of how much further he's going to take this, and whether or not, you know, the U.S. is going to have to go ahead and go in and take care of business. And the U.S. will be taking care of business. As you heard from U.S. officials, there's only so much road, and he is at that point where we have to react.
Well, is the U.S. still going to try to pressure North Korea financially along with the Chinese banks and businesses?
That's going to be the main goal right there, the Chinese banks. You know, we're talking about Chinese trade with the United States. Chinese trade in 2006 was $648 billion. China has the largest imported goods supplier to the United States and the third largest goods export market. So, you know what, going after the Chinese banks, that's going to be the main difference there. We've already cut off many of the oil and crude oil and things like that that's heading on into the country. Now we need to go after him financially. But again, North Korea gets a lot of their money from their drug industry and also from their sales of weapons. So we have to wait and see on what's going to happen next.
Eric, I was speculating a little bit at the beginning of this program, but if there is a strike, how do you think, what form would it take?
Oh, it's going to be a very quick and multi-dimensional strike. It's going to take place not only from the sea with Tomahawk missiles and many of our destroyers there, but we're also going to hit them from the air as well. You know, we have the B-2 bombers that have been practicing right now with the South Koreans, but we also have our B-22s, our B-35s, and then also Japan's going to get involved as well with their F-15s and F-16s. And I'm also hearing from Pentagon sources that we're going to be seeing unmanned aircraft possibly dropping bombs directly on the palace itself to be able to, because that's going to be his only form of protection is those walls within the palace, but we are literally going to destroy that palace.
Well, Eric Rosales, thank you very much. We'll continue to watch it. It's a dangerous situation, and what could be done to South Korea if the North begins to launch weapons against them. But again, we'd have to have Tomahawk missiles to take out those artillery batteries that are in North Korea aimed at the South. But I tell you, it's going to be a horrible thing. I was there in Korea. I have been in North Korea. I was stationed there with the Marines. I'm aware of what's up there. And the thing that is so horrible is what they've done to their people. They've literally systematically starved their people. They've tortured their people. The people have suffered unbelievable hardships because of the madmen, this Kim regime, this Kim Il-sung and then the successors. What they've done in that country is just barbaric. But who knows who will suffer, though, if we hit them hard. And I don't suppose that even nuclear weapons are off the table. So what will it be like? What will we do? And how will we be regarded in the rest of Asia if we do it?
Pat, let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who would come to North Korea's defense? Do they have any allies in this war?
Well, when I was there, the Chinese came to their defense. Yeah. But here again, we were going across the Yalu, and that was the border, you know, the little river that was running between Korea and China. And the Chinese perceived this as a threat. I think at this point they'll know we're not about to invade them, and so that they may leave the Koreans alone. They say, tough luck, you brought it on yourself, and it's too bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to.
But you know, they fired Truman fired MacArthur. MacArthur wanted to go to the Yalu and seal off the Korean peninsula, and Truman fired him because of that, because he thought that MacArthur might engage us in a war with China. Folks, it is a mess. War is horrible, and you never know where it will lead when we started. But at the same time, when you have a rogue, and the police have to act to keep the rogue, to keep the bandit, to keep the gangster from hurting innocent people. So Kim is bringing it on himself, and I just don't understand what's the matter with him. Well, in other news, a defender of the Christian faith has died at a very young age. John Jessup has that.
That's right, Pat. Former Muslim-turned-Christian apologist Nabeel Qureshi passed away Saturday after a year-long battle with stomach cancer. He was 34 years old. Qureshi was born and raised in the United States to a devout Pakistani Muslim family. By the time he was 5, he had already read through the entire Quran and could recite several chapters by memory. Eventually, after discussions with a fellow college student who was a Christian and having prophetic dreams and studying the Bible, he turned to Christ. He earned several degrees in Christian apologetics and became a renowned evangelist through Ravi Zacharias Ministries, writing 3 books and appearing with us here on the 700 Club. Last year, he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of stomach cancer. Although the cancer took away his life, Qureshi told CBN his message of God's love he hoped would live on through Jesus Christ.
As you consider my ministry, I hope it leaves a legacy of love, of peace, of truth, of caring for one another. That's my hope and my purpose behind this.
Qureshi leaves behind a wife and young daughter, and Pat, no doubt his legacy will live on.
Oh, I want to talk to Wendy. You interviewed him on this program.
It was just about a year ago,
All
and
right.
he looked perfectly healthy. I think he just had a new book out. He was full of life, and this thing just happened so suddenly. And
Does anybody know why or what kind of cancer he had?
a
stomach
very
cancer.
aggressive form of stomach cancer that just would not quit. And but he remained full of faith right up to the end. And we just send our prayers out to his beautiful wife and daughter and all those who love him and are going to miss him. He was a great warrior for the faith.
He was indeed.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, as you probably have been hearing in the news, more hurricanes are on the way, and John's got that report.
That's right, Pat. The hurricanes are building up strength in the Atlantic. Hurricane Maria is bearing down on the Caribbean. It's on course to pass close to several islands devastated by Irma in the coming days, including Barbuda and St. Martin's. Then it's expected to head for Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. Forecasters expect it to grow into a dangerous Category 4 hurricane. And Hurricane Jose could hit the U.S. East Coast and the mid-Atlantic through the north with heavy winds and rain. CBN's Operation Blessing, meanwhile, is still at work helping victims of Hurricanes Irma and Harvey. The ministry has helped people in more than 28 cities in Texas and Florida with relief supplies like food and water, and volunteers to help clean up the damage. They also bring spiritual aid and comfort to the victims. So far, Operation Blessing has mobilized more than 5,000 volunteers in Texas alone. And Pat, I was just in Texas, and I can tell you the people there are appreciative beyond words when they see the Operation Blessing caravan roll in.
Well, it's a message of hope. It's like a big flag that says, we love you and we're with you. And to say the least, Operation Blessing needs your help. Small contributions, big contributions, whatever. So we appreciate that. The telephone number, by the way, is 1-800, let's see, it's 700-7000, or cbn.com, or you could just remember Operation Blessing. It's hurricane relief. We're helping people in Texas and helping people in Florida and geared up to the next one. We want to have enough fuel in the tank, if I can use that term, to keep going, because we have to bring food to those people. We probably are the most efficient organizer of volunteers in the nation. When we're in charge, the volunteers are working. They're working hard. They're working effectively, and they're bringing a tremendous amount of assistance to those victims of those storms.
They really are, Pat, and they do it with so much joy too. I've been with them.
Yeah.